Hello there. A couple of days ago, the US was all for Poland giving MiG-29 fighter aircraft to Ukraine. Suddenly, it's not okay. What's changed? On Sunday, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken told CNN that the US and Poland were working towards the Polish supplying Russian-made MiG-29 fighter aircraft to Ukraine. The idea was that the Ukrainian pilots would get aircraft they had been trained to fly, and then Poland would, in return, get backfilled with US F-16s for their own air force. But that whole deal seems to have floundered as of this morning. But why? Kyiv is desperate for anything that will keep the Russians from gaining total air supremacy over Ukraine, and for that, Ukraine needs every single aircraft it can lay its hands on. Well, it turns out that the Polish plan wasn't as straightforward as handing MiG-29s direct to Ukraine, something that would have put Poland firmly in Putin's sight as a direct player in the war. No, Poland made what the US is claiming is a surprise announcement. They would basically swap the MiG-29s with the US in return for F-16s in the future, and then send the MiG-29s to the US Ramstein Air Base in Germany, where they would be repainted in Ukraine Air Force colours, then sent to a non-NATO country for onward transit to Ukraine. And suddenly the US is concerned about the whole idea, saying it is untenable and had no substantive rationale, as well as raising serious concerns for the whole NATO alliance. Now, the Warsaw government said it did not want to fly the MiG-29s direct from Poland into Ukraine, as Poland is not a direct player in this war. Warsaw might be worried that if Russia targeted them for doing this, then they might find Poland as isolated as Ukraine is right now, despite being a member of NATO. So it looks like Warsaw tried to test the water by bouncing the US into the equation as a main player in this MiG-29 transfer. And the US has balked at that idea. Please tell me I've got this wrong. Otherwise, it raises questions about US commitment to Europe at a time when NATO and the US should be leaving absolutely no room for such questions.